My name is Jamie Levinson. I've been playing drums for almost 2 decades now, and I got into it because when I was younger, I saw my uncle playing drums. He played drums in a band in high school and kind of stuck with it, and I saw him play. One of my earliest memories was of him playing drums in his basement, and I just remember being really overwhelmed by how loud it was. And I was like, that's the instrument for me, because it's loud and intense. Yeah, so I just kind of toiled in Chicago for a while, editing videos, and decided it wasn't for me, and then started working in this pretty exceptional record store there called Dusty Groove, and I was exposed to this completely new spectrum of music that they specialize in Brazilian and old jazz and old R&B and stuff that was well off the map and kind of a collector's market. And I just spent a lot of time with those records every day for like 3 years. What drew me to a lot of the stuff I was listening to was that it wasn't Western time signatures, and there was all these polyrhythms that you just don't get in most music that you hear on the radio or pop music in general, which is not to slag that off at all. I really enjoy all kinds of music, but when I was specifically honing in on that stuff, there was music from Ethiopia and Brazil, the Tropicalia movement. Specifically with Ethiopia, there were all these bands that were mimicking James Brown in the 70s, but it was through this filter that just sounded like it was coming from another planet. And a lot of it was kind of 6/8 time, but in ways that just didn't sound like, I love any song where I can't figure out where the one is. Like that, just if I hear it like 3 or 4 times and I still don't know where the one is, like that's a keeper. That should be on the radio, that's a single to me. Listening to a wide variety of music was important to becoming a well-rounded drummer, simply because I think you can only learn so much about yourself by listening to yourself. I think when you listen to other people, that's when you become a sponge. I think great musicians are the best sponges. They always have open ears. Genre doesn't mean anything, and I found that I really my playing developed and my ears developed because I was just simply listening to everything. Closing doors is, I think, the quickest way to becoming a stale drummer. My friends in White Rabbits were moving to New York. They were uprooting from Columbia, where a bunch of us had met in college. 2 of the guys I went to high school with here, and we decided that it would be good to have 2 drummers in a band that was almost legitimately filled with drummers. And I flew out to New York. I just packed up, brought all my stuff there, and started. I really just hit the ground running. We played a showcase maybe a week after I was there, and then recorded records and started touring the world after that. Well, for me, I've always been attracted to drummers that it's not about, for me, drumming isn't about how flashy you can get. It's really, can you play a pocket groove? I've always been interested in drummers that can do so much with just like a kick, snare, and hi-hat. You can know out of the gate if the drummer's got like a vibe with just that. And so for me, like having the Equator snare really spoke to kind of the drummers that I was influenced by, where there's just like a deep personality in kind of the drums that you're playing. Like you don't just hear the drums, you hear like the musician with the drums at the same time. Just kind of like a nice melding of the two. And I played a bunch of different snare drums that just would tape up and just try and kind of just make sound like me, but I couldn't get that to happen. And it was really one of the first times I've like had a drum out of a box and put it down, and it was just like, cool, this sounds like me. I feel like I can talk with this drum to people and get, at least my vibe across with it. There's a misconception, I think, amongst most musicians that are looking at it from the outside, that there's some path that gets you to success in a band. I think we can say a lot of it is hard work, because it is hard work. The only thing in your control is how hard you do work. being involved in music because you want to make it or want to get to a point where there's an audience, that enough people that it feels like they appreciate what you do, I think is the wrong reason to be playing music, because that always is on a up and down trajectory. Sometimes people love you, sometimes people don't love you. We've experienced that, and it's not really why you pick up a pair of sticks. It's not really why you go into the studio with the band to record. It's not why you show up and play on stage. I think it comes from deep within that you really care about music, really at its core.